Hey everybody, I'm Xiaofei. I'm Xiaofei, and this is the story. All right, who's ready to watch a movie? I'm Xiaofei, and this is the full presentation of when I went to the US and Canada to promote outdoor adventure tourism and ecotourism in Taiwan. If you like this content, please be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you get the notifications. Now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy 20 or 30 minutes of me talking.
I've been living in Taiwan for about 7 years. And in Taiwan, I publish an online travel guide. And this guide is mostly about outdoor adventure sports, particularly water sports like swimming, snorkeling, and hiking up the rivers. I've actually been to so many waterfalls in Taiwan that people sometimes just call me the waterfall guy. I've been to more than 300 distinct waterfall groups, but there's many, many more waterfalls in Taiwan that I still haven't visited. Today though, I'd like to share with you some of my favorite places and also talk about some of the different types of tourism options there are for outdoor adventure sports. So due to the variations in elevation and also from north to south, there's quite a lot of differences between the rivers and waterfalls in Taiwan. This behind me is Tianma Waterfall in South Taiwan. And it's an example of a sandstone river. Because the rocks in this river are very soft, as the water flows over, it picks up a lot of sediment. And that's what causes this very nice greenish blue color, turquoise color. Another phenomenon that happens in the sandstone riverbeds is that when a hard rock falls into depression in the riverbed, the water bounces it around, and over time, it will dig out a circular swimming hole. This type of pool is very common in the sandstone riverbeds, which occur in Tainan, Chiayi, and Yunlin in south and central Taiwan on the west coast. Conversely, in the riverbeds that are made of a hard metamorphic rock, the rushing water doesn't pick up much sediment, and so the water is very crystal clear, and it turns into a very nice blue in the deeper areas. This is Flying Dragon Waterfall in Pingdong County in the southern part of Taiwan. And because the temperature is very warm there, it's in the tropical zone, even in the winter time, we'll still go and swim in this waterfall. Other waterfalls are like things that I've never seen before. This is Momonar Waterfall in central Taiwan. And that bright orange color you see on the right side of the screen is a kind of a moss that grows on the rock. It's completely harmless, it's just beautiful to look at. And the reason it grows there is because this type of waterfall is in a narrow canyon. So the spray from the waterfall coats the rocks and keeps them wet. And because not much sunlight gets into the canyon there, it's an ideal place for lichens and mosses to grow. There are many ways to get to waterfalls in Taiwan. The most basic and most common way is to hike to them. So this is an example of a typical hiking trail in Taiwan that goes through the forest. This is actually the hiking trail to the waterfall we just saw, Momonar. And this particular trail is not very difficult. There's not much change in elevation, but there are so many waterfalls in Taiwan that you can have all options available to you in terms of the difficulty that you want and the amount of adventure and exercise that you're interested in. For example, this is Kaiyofeng Waterfall in Pingdong County in the south part of Taiwan. And it's only about 10-minute walk from the parking area, and the path is made of a nice cobblestone. It's in a built-up area. And this waterfall is popular to visit when going to the southern resort town, Kending. Other waterfalls can just be seen from the road. This is Jiaolong Waterfall, the tallest waterfall in Taiwan and one of the tallest waterfalls in the world. It's over 600 meters tall. And it's important to visit this waterfall early in the morning because as you can see from the photo here, by the afternoon, the clouds will already come in and start to obscure the top. By far the most exciting way to visit a waterfall though is through an activity called river tracing. And river tracing is a combination of rock climbing, swimming, and hiking. And it's a very popular sport in Taiwan. To do this, we hike up the river instead of on any path. We go through the water and we overcome any obstacle that gets in our way, like a smaller waterfall or rock. Different experience levels are required, and you may need some specialized equipment and training. For people without training, you can still go on these guided tours, and you can have a tour guide, a tour group that will take you through the river and up and over all the obstacles. The opposite of river tracing is called canyoning. And that's when instead of going from downriver to upriver, we go from upriver to downriver. And this allows us to overcome much taller obstacles, much bigger waterfalls. If the water is deep at the bottom of the waterfall, like in this case here, we can simply just jump from the top and splash down the water below. When the water isn't deep or the waterfalls are too high, then we can rappel down the waterfall from an anchor at the top. In this photo, you can see my colleague here abseiling down the waterfall. And this is an example of a bit of a higher skill level waterfall. But even so, you can still do it with a tour guide to go down the waterfall. And the way that works is through a process called belaying. As you can see, the woman here is abseiling down the waterfall. And there is a guide at the bottom and a guide at the top who keep tension on the rope. And so for any reason, if she slips or falls or gets scared, the guide at the bottom can pull the rope tight, and that will prevent her from moving further. And can also pull her away from the rock face and slowly lower her down to the riverbed. So it's actually quite a safe sport, as long as we take the proper precautions. Another way to get down a waterfall is to create a zip line. Here's an example of some rope rigging that will allow a tourist to just fly down the waterfall on a rope. It's quite fun, exciting, and also very easy for the tourist. Here's an example of a similar setup. In this situation, the tourist can pull herself along the rope with her arms, or also the guide at the top of the river can just lift the rope, which will change the center of gravity for the tourist, and she'll slide down the rope down to the bottom of the water. For this type of guided event, typically there'll be 2 guides for every 4 to 6 people, and depending on how far you're going up the river, it will usually cost between $50 and $100 a day. My favorite way to get down a waterfall is by using a water slide. So in this case, you can see the guide is looking on to make sure that the tourist slides down the waterfall safely. If for some reason she would get caught in the current down at the bottom, the guide would be there to pull them out. And it can be a very exciting experience, especially for people who are looking for adventure. For people who want a more relaxed take, there are also many waterfalls which are much easier to get to, and you can just have a casual walk up the river and relax and enjoy the day in a clear mountain pool. Waterfalls aren't the only reason to hike up rivers in Taiwan. Another reason is hot springs. So in the winter, usually from about December to April, is hot spring season. And there are about 90 hot springs in Taiwan, which are just on the side of the river. We call these wild hot springs. So the spring is naturally occurring on the side of the riverbed. Depending on how far the hot spring is away, in this case, this is in Taidong County on the east coast of Taiwan, and it's more than half a day's hike to get here. So you can hire a tour group to help you bring all the tents and equipment and cooking and everything like that, and help you carry your gear down to the hot spring. And the group can spend the night in the riverbed and soak in the hot spring at night under the stars. It's quite a special experience and something very, very enjoyable in winter. Like waterfalls, there's a lot of variations between hot springs in Taiwan. This is Shikang Hot Spring in Kaohsiung City, south part of Taiwan. The water here is blue because of minerals that come out of the hot spring. This type of hot spring is called a carbonate hot spring, and the minerals calcify the rocks, which is that white color you see at the bottom. Also in the back there, that green color, it's not slime, it's quite hard. It's another mineral that comes out of the hot spring and hardens on the rock. Just the mineral content of the water is very high, which is the same reason that's causing this rock wall to turn bright red. This is Hayoshi Hot Spring. Here is another one called Lisong Hot Spring. And this hot spring is actually occurring high up on the canyon wall there and is flowing down the side of the rocks and into the river, kind of like a waterfall. Because the hot spring is very, very hot, you can mix the cold water from the pool with the hot water from the hot spring to adjust the temperature to get it exactly how you want it. One of the really nice things about living in Taiwan is that no matter where you are, you're both simultaneously close to the mountains and close to the beach. Nowhere is this more evident than in the Qingsui Cliffs on the northeast coast of Taiwan. These cliffs go down 800 meters directly into the ocean, and it's a very spectacular sight. It's like nothing I've ever seen before, and I highly recommend, if you have the opportunity, to stop by and check these out on your trip to Taiwan. This is the northeast part of Taiwan in Yilan County. If you're going to go to Taroko Gorge from the north, you'll pass by. That's to see it from the road, but there's also another way to see the cliffs, which is to go on kayaking tours, or to go on boat tours, which can take you around the ocean and see it from the oceans. Nowadays, kayaking and SUP are becoming very popular tour options in Taiwan. And for the places that are farther away, you can get assists from speedboats. Speedboats will take groups of adventurers out and tow them to either hidden beaches along the coast or to rock formations. This is Uyanjiao on the northeast coast of Taiwan. It's a beautiful little mountain that's just sort of coming out of the ocean. And there's actually some tunnels in the island that you can take kayaks through, and you can get a tour that will tow people out to this small island here, and then they'll have all the equipment and camp on the beach, spend the night at the beach under the stars, and they can paddle around on SUPs or kayaks. Closer to the city are many rock formations along the northeast coast. This rock formation is called the Elephant's Trunk. So you can see its likeness to an elephant with the ears on the top right there. And this is a very popular place to visit because it's only about 40 minutes from Taipei. You'll see this place all over Instagram. It's a fantastic place to take photos. However, there is another way to visit the Elephant's Trunk. There are a lot of stand-up paddleboard and kayaking tours that will leave from nearby beaches. And depending on what you do, you can have half-day or full-day tours. And there are many other rock formations around the area that you can also visit. This is Candlesticks Island, which is also in the north coast of Taiwan. These types of tours also run about $50 to $100 a day. This particular island is also a popular place to go scuba diving because the water is about 60 feet deep. Most of these tours will leave from the beaches. This is Dongao Beach on the east coast of Taiwan. You can see the colorful objects in the bottom there are kayaks waiting to be rowed out to sea. You can take these kayaks around the peninsula and visit some small hidden beaches that would be very difficult to reach otherwise. On the south coast of Taiwan, the area is much flatter and the beaches are usually covered in coral reefs. And there's a small island called Xiaofei, which is about a 15-minute boat ride from the main island. And there is a very nice place to go snorkeling, and they have a large population of green sea turtles. And so you can snorkel with the green sea turtles. They generally just ignore swimmers. As long as you don't get too close to them or try to touch them, they just mind their own business. This is actually a small turtle. It's about 3 feet across. They grow to be about 5 feet across. Those are quite common. You don't have to really go looking for them. You just go out on the beach and you'll find them. You can rent snorkeling equipment from the beaches and also go on tours where they'll take you out on boats and set up sort of inflatable islands that you can use as a base of operation to go up and down. This video was filmed in February. Because Xiaofei is so far south and it's a bit protected, the ocean temperatures tend to be quite warm, even in the winter. Some people still will rent a wetsuit, but for short swims, like a half hour, it tends to be no problem. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to get up very early in the morning to see sea turtles. They, like me, they're late sleepers, and so the best time to see them is actually about 1, 2 in the afternoon. That's when they get up, have a late lunch of seaweed and other delicious things that sea turtles love. There are many other types of water sports activities that I wasn't able to cover in this presentation, like whitewater rafting, snorkeling, and deep sea fishing. But I hope this gave you some idea of the different types of activities that are available to do in Taiwan. And you can see more on my website, followxiaofei.com, where I've listed hundreds of different places that you can visit and maps and GPS to them. And I also invite you to follow me on YouTube and Facebook. And now I'll be very happy to answer any questions that some of you may have.
Scuba diving, you didn't cover that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't cover that. I'm not a scuba diver, that's why. But there are a lot of different scuba diving options, particularly on Green Island and Xiaofei. One of the very nice things about Green Island is that the reefs are still quite healthy.
Is there surfing anywhere?
Yeah, there is surfing. Surfing is quite a popular sport, particularly on the east coast of Taiwan for regular surfing. And for kite surfing, the west coast of Taiwan and also Penghu Islands, because the wind is not just very strong, but it's also very constant. So it's a very popular place to go kite surfing. Thank you very much. If you want to know more about these places later, I just encourage everyone to go check out my website, and I have an English version and a Chinese version, and they're organized by different types of locations like hot springs or waterfalls or lakes, and they're also organized by the location. So if you have any clients who are going to Taiwan, you know the area that they'll be in, like you know they'll be in Taipei City, or you'll know they'll be in Kaohsiung, then you can sort of check what's nearby and send them to it. Thank you very much.